I tried to time clicking the music start with starting the stream, and the music is not playing for me. So this is great. But hey, we're here. Awesome. That'll kick in later at some point at an unknown time in the future. There it is. Woo! Thanks, Foundry. Always so great with the audio. So last time we ended on a clusterfuck, so it's only fitting that we start on a clusterfuck of a different type. So we were down a member last week, and because of that, we had discussed beforehand that we would do only things that didn't actually move the plot forward necessarily, but we could all still come together and, you know, hang out and get a few things done, get some role playing, play the game, have some fun. And so you all kind of walked around the town. You know, ended the previous day, you went for a rest in whatever room you went to rest in, woke up the next morning and started with some shopping and some looking around town, trying to figure out who could identify some things for you, who could understand some of the weird odds and ends you'd found down under Otari. And several of those things were pretty straightforward, but the most interesting one was the necklace you found that had a bit of shell on a copper chain. Appeared to be you brought it to Rin's Wonders, and it appeared to be a portion of a green dragon shell, which Rin had never seen in person, but was able to look it up in a book that she had. Flipped through it, found an exact match for it with the same pattern of veins going across and everything, and had a color reference. And I'm like, yes, this must be a green dragon. And she bought that off you for a few gold pieces. You also picked up Ogden's newly upgraded sword, as the rune had been completed, being etched onto it. And so that is a pretty major upgrade for one of your party members. And then last, but certainly not the least entertaining, you all went to inspect the ruins in the town here. The ruins of the Thirsty Alpaca, the place that broke down a few weeks ago, suddenly, out of nowhere. It just collapsed underground, a good couple stories deep. This pit it suddenly fell into, killing several people inside. It was great tragedy, and ever since then, people have been staying clear of the ruins. There's some fear that maybe the land around it may deteriorate as well. You know, people don't want to go poking around these ruins too much if they could be dangerous. And at night, there are strange sounds and lights that come from the ruins, and people think this place must be haunted. There must be some work of spirits, perhaps even those who died there only a few weeks ago. And so, in the middle of the day, when you should be safe from spirits, you all decided to check out the ruins and see what you could see while the sun was over your head. Unfortunately, the ruins were collapsed, as I said, about 20 feet down underground, leaving a gap between like a straight sheer cliff wall on all sides of the ruins. This 20-foot cliff heading down, and the ruins themselves were sort of piled up in the middle of this pit. And if you could make a long enough jump, you could run from the sheer cliff on the outside all the way and land on top of this pile of ruins without falling too far. But it was pretty risky, mostly from, you know, getting solid footing once you landed on the pile of ruins in the middle, on the rubble. The jump itself wasn't too challenging. And Nocti made it. I think Nocti's the only one to have made it so far. Does that sound accurate?
That sounds accurate.
Excellent. And so, yeah, I'll just show the party sheet real quick, just to pop that up and be like, hey, several of your party members almost fucking died to this pit last session because several of you tried to jump across and had terrible, catastrophic accidents on the way, tumbling down into the pit, down these rough, jagged bits of rubble, and eventually collapsing at the bottom. Ashay almost died just from that. And Ayala, a little more tough, also fell, but was not completely taken out by that. So you got some rope, you got people back up, and you decided to try and make a bridge across. You got a ladder. Yes.
You're forgetting where I knocked myself out with my own first aid.
Yes, I was getting to that. That is definitely So you went to go and get a ladder from the market, leaving Eshe behind to tend to their wounds. And as Aela and Ogden returned carrying this 10-foot ladder you hoped would span the gap, you witnessed Eshe, like, ready to finish the final stitch of the wound, pull a little too tight, and everything, all the stitches came undone. The wound tore open even farther, and Eshe just collapsed on the ground. I'm sorry. Eshe just collapsed on the ground, passed out immediately from the pain, from the blood loss, from the shock of her wound not being properly taken care of. And you all rushed over to help, checking if she was alive, all of that. And thankfully, Eshe did stabilize and woke up not too much longer, but is remaining at 1 hit point, unfortunately. But all of that notwithstanding, you got the bridge across. You cleverly looped a rope through the top of the ladder and let it down slowly like a drawbridge over the gap so that it could fall on the other side and remain a bit sturdy. And so Ogden decided to test out this new bridge that you had all created together. And I announced at the end of last session that this bridge was so easy to cross now, but still had some risk of danger, that the only way you would fail getting across is if you rolled a natural 1. And we all know how that went. And yes, thank you for the reminder. Aela, you can add 1 hero point since you're out of hero points from last time.
Thank you.
And Ogden, you step onto this side of the ladder and it just began to tilt, and it didn't quite hold your weight like you thought it would. You didn't step perfectly in the middle, and the ladder just starts to flip and just drop you into the pit. And so you do have a reaction to try and grab the ladder, I guess is the only thing close enough, on your way down, or perhaps dive towards one side or the other and try to grab that edge. So you can make an acrobatics check as a reaction if you wish to attempt to grab something and save yourself from plummeting. Oh! Went from the natural 1 to the natural 20. Holy. All right, so I'm going to say that you probably dive towards the center then. You feel the ladder shaking underneath your feet. The ladder goes to tip over sideways and dump you off, and you just make a flying leap, and your hands catch the other side. You probably hit like right up against the middle of your chest, kind of knocking the wind out of you very slightly. But with a natural 20, it's not going to knock the wind out of you with any mechanical effect. You just hit it, grunt a little bit, and then climb back up to the top. And you've made it to the other side, and you are now safely in the middle of the ruins. You know what? Why don't I just activate the real map here? I'll see what we're working with. But Ogden is now on top of the pile of the ruins. You have the bridge across. Several of your party members are still hurt, but hey, at least you got somebody over there.
Can I try and cross the bridge?
You can. So I believe that is another acrobatics check to balance, is what we ruled it as. And with balance, you essentially have to critically fail to fall.
Can I attempt to help by holding the ladder in place? Because I'm nervous after seeing
I mean, I don't think that'll help with a crit fail.
Yeah, it won't.
Yeah. Narratively, you can just add that. I mean, technically it... no, it probably wouldn't, actually. You're right. I don't think it would have any mechanical effect in this case. But, yes, Eshe makes it across. You do have to go pretty slowly. You're a little shaky right now with the results of that roll. But you do eventually make it across the ladder, step by step, just getting your balance after each step. Instead of any kind of smooth motion across, but you do manage to make it.
Making sure I don't pull my stitches any more than I have already.
Exactly.
Well, if everyone else is across the bridge, I guess I'll also attempt to cross. that just another athletics?
Acrobatics.
Acrobatics. Hey, I'm slightly better at that.
Mm-hmm. Oh no!
Never mind.
So, Ayla, you take a few steps across, and you were like, well, you know, I didn't feel the ladder shaking that much when I was holding it, so maybe nobody actually needs to be holding it. And then you take a couple steps onto it, and you feel the ladder try to tilt over and buck you off of it once again. So, yeah, you're in the middle of the ladder. You're about to plummet back down into the pit again. What do you want to do?
I want to try and arrest my fall.
All right, give me another acrobatics check. Okay. So with a 12, let me just double check the rest of all rules. So the DC for arresting a fall is typically 15. And could be higher due to other circumstances. So I think, unfortunately, Ayla, you get to the middle. Everyone thinks, well, we've got several people over at this point. Ashay, made it across safely, so it couldn't be that dangerous. And when everyone else, got that little bit of confidence, not on guard quite as much, that's when Ayla just goes tumbling back down into the pit, taking an additional 10 damage.
Ayla is unconscious in the bottom of the pit.
Oh, great. This pit-based adventure has done more damage to all of you than any enemy ever has. It's your own hubris.
I am going to cast a 3-action heal.
Okay. How far can that reach? 30 feet.
30-foot emanation from me.
Okay, so yeah, you watch Ayla plummet into the pit. You hear a sickening crunch when she reaches the bottom, and just her body stops moving. And so you cast that heal instantly, thinking very quickly. And how much healing is that?
3. But
Nice.
I also get 3 points of... Everybody gets 3 points of healing.
Absolutely. Also, as a note for stuff, because I keep pulling up the party sheet, I did settle back on removing the pets from the party sheet because they were causing too many random issues. But there is a pets folder you can find that they're in now. But they're just no longer in the party for all the things the party sheet does. That's all. All right, so yeah, Ayla, you're in the bottom of the pit, and a mere second ago you were unconscious and in a lot of pain right before going unconscious, and then now you are still in a lot of pain, but suddenly awoken by healing magic.
Ow, my everything. Thanks for the healing.
I think it's worth noting as well that in Pathfinder, from what I recall about how the rules and how they interact with magic and stuff works, healing magic can keep you going. It's like a rush of adrenaline or a burst of magical animating energy that can keep you on your feet, that kind of thing. But it doesn't heal any wounds, actually. That is what you need to still treat wounds if you want to patch things up, get bones set, whatever.
Do I have the wounded one condition from being knocked out?
Yes, you should have the wounded one condition. Thank you.
Heck yeah, I don't know how to add that, but oh wait, yes I do. Figured it out.
Excellent.
Is the rope on that side of the gap? That might help. Maybe.
So from what I recall, of the rope, and correct me if someone else remembers something else, Ogden was just standing at the top of the safe side of the gap and like pulling people up with the rope. So maybe Ogden, you gathered the rope back up again because you used it to set the ladder down, right? But
yeah, so we tied it to the top end of the ladder, so it would be where Eshe and myself are.
Right. There would be at least a knot there for you to grab that end of the rope and start working out. Yeah, that makes sense.
Which is what we can do. And hopefully get Ayla out of the pit a second time.
Indeed.
I have no idea if this is relevant, but I just realized that because I did the emanation version, if there's any undead people in that 30-foot emanation sphere, they take 3 radiant damage.
That is correct.
Ooh.
You don't feel like, or you didn't hear any, pain sounds or undead bone rattling or anything, but that is how that would work, yeah.
Yeah, I just figured since this place is maybe haunted,
True.
I'd make sure that was mentioned just
Yes.
in case there was something hiding.
That is very fair. I think the other thing we mentioned about emanations previously is they don't go through walls. They require line of effect. But so if there was something out here, maybe invisible, that you couldn't see that was within it, that would hit them, yeah. All right. So I assume you dangle the rope down to Ayla then, yeah? What's the plan up there, Ogden, if you've got the rope in your hands?
To anchor it and pull if needed.
Or is you gonna
Since
find
I know Ayla's very hurt.
Right, so you find a particularly sturdy bit of rubble anchored on that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay. So you definitely have plenty of rope, right? It's only a 20-foot drop. I don't remember how much of an increment of rope you get, but I assume it's a more than 20-foot rope.
Yeah, I think the general one is 50 feet.
That would make sense. I just want to double check because it might be different in this system. Then yes, it is 50 feet of rope. Okay. So you have 50 feet of rope.
I'm going to cast guidance on Ayla.
All right. So Ayla, you are battered and bruised and scraped up from your fall, and sore everywhere. And now you've got the task of climbing back up all this unstable rubble. But at least you've got a rope. You've got some guidance. Climbing is an athletics check. You could give me that. Okay. So on a 7, you go to pull yourself up the rope, like one hand over the other, trying to get up, and you get a few feet up, and you begin to get so winded and so sore that you're not making much progress. You're a few feet up now. You don't make it very far, but if you want to try again, you can. Just know that you're now at a height where a critical failure could make you actually fall.
And since you didn't use guidance this time around, you can apply the effect.
Yeah, I believe it also wouldn't have the -1 armor penalty because I believe you took off your cloak.
Oh, you did. Maybe you put it back on, but I do remember you saying you would take it off before you would make the jumps and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I will try to continue climbing.
All right.
With guidance, because I forgot about guidance.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. So you take a step. Excuse me. You take a second. You catch your breath. You remember this magical energy, this guidance that was given to you, and then you start working your way up. One hand in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. It does take you a minute to get up there, just because it's really tricky surface to climb on. Like every once in a while, you'll step on something and it'll just give out underneath your foot, and there won't be like a good solid purchase there if you just step on. You need to find a different way up. But the rope really helps to make it a lot easier. It lowered the DC of the climbing very significantly. And you finally pull yourself up to the top of the rubble.
Well, this was a fun adventure for us to get over here.
You say that, but now we've got to get back too.
Yeah, I was thinking of that, but since we're here, we might as well explore.
Back's not gonna crumble under our feet as we get there.
True.
The ground might crumble over under our feet as we try and jump, though.
Well, knowing our luck, maybe. I'm going to try and cast treat my own wounds again.
All right. So you sit here on top of this rubble. And
So that's a medicine check?
correct, a medicine check.
Okay. Do you want me to use the exploration action? I'll do that.
If you want to. Does help track it, but not too necessary. That's especially helpful if like everybody's doing different things for 10 minutes or something, but
Oof. Okay. I'm out again.
Sweet wounds. Oh yeah, you rolled a natural 1. Oh no. With a
And
full
full
8
damage.
Oh no. Poor Ashay. This is Ashay's no good, very bad day. All right, so yeah, you both standing atop this rubble watch Ashay just pass out onto the roof you're all standing on once again.
Oh, I hope she's okay. Hold
I
on.
reach for my medicine kit and like tear some stitches and immediately pass out.
Let me flip back to cast some magic. I'll take out my spell book, wincing a little bit as I make the motion and flip through it. And I'd like to attempt to to trick magic item.
Okay, remind me how that works.
You
You have to roll like perception or something. Okay.
Yeah. No, I have to roll Arcana or Nature or Occultism or Religion.
Okay, the skill matching the item's magic tradition. That makes it so. What are you trying to trick?
My Scroll of Healing or Heal.
Okay. So probably religion then. DC based on the item's level.
It says it also comes from Primal Tradition. So could I possibly argue for Nature?
I think I'll allow you to pick based on where you think the scroll came from. If you think this is a druid scroll or a cleric scroll, where would Ayala get it from?
If she knew how the tricking magic item would work, she'd probably want to find something that worked with her strengths, right?
That makes sense. So maybe she took a trip to the Stone Ring Pond previously to pick up this kind of scroll, and that's where.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a first level heal.
Yes, but I have to try and trick the magic item first.
Okay. Well, I need to know the level of the spell for the DC. That's all. So yeah, first level. Okay. That just barely makes it.
Hey, okay. Well, I'm gonna cast Heal then.
Excellent.
Heal. I'm gonna use 2 actions, which doesn't change much.
Fair enough.
Shay will get 3 health. And I have successfully cast magic for the first time this campaign. How many episodes in?
The 2 action version does add +8, so it'd be 11. But yes,
That's
magic.
it.
Yes, the 2 action increases the healing by
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So it also gives
11
you
health.
range, but yeah, more healing too.
All right, now I can't pass out from treating wounds, so I'm gonna try again. Oh wait, no, I have to wait an hour.
You have to wait an hour, yeah. But you're feeling, I mean, better. You got that again. That magical energy surges through you, like forcing you back to consciousness and giving you enough energy to go on. But yeah, your wounds are still pretty bad.
Oh, Wait, no, I'm not. My wounds are bad, but I'm close to max HP. So
Indeed. You do go up to wounded 2 though. Which is starting to get kind of dangerous, just so that everyone is aware. Because I think if you reach dying 4, you die. Yes. Yeah, when you'd fall unconscious again, you would now start at dying 3, and 1 stabilization roll could kill you.
how do I get to wounded 2? It's not.
You can add, here, I'll just click. Oh, weird. Normally it would let me just do that, but
Here, I'm gonna try and put my HP to 0 and then do it.
Perhaps.
No, it
Let
just isn't
me-
doing anything.
Let me just add the wounded condition to you again.
Oh,
Okay,
it has an increased value. Hold on. Oops. I've got my left and my right mixed up.
There we go. I think we're both. I'm sorry. I'll stop. You do it.
There we go.
both found it at the same time and started duplicating it. Okay. So
Yes.
now you are no longer dying, but you are wounded 2, which is very bad. I suppose wounded 1 is the same. You don't actually change that much from wounded 1 now that I think about it, based on the way dying works. But because you would go to dying 2, and then if you failed another roll, you would go to dying 4 because you would add the wounded to it again. That apparently is how it was always supposed to work, and they clarified it recently that that's how it was always supposed to work. Yeah, that's fun.
So it's a lot easier to die in this game.
A lot easier to die, yeah, because the wounded condition gets added to every time you would level up the dying condition at all. You would add the wounded condition to it as well. So it can get very nasty very quick.
Yeah.
But for now, you're wounded 2, dying 0. You're back up. You've got a lot of HP, so that's good at least.
I have just had a thought.
All right.
I need to make a deception check to make it look like I was casting the magic and not using a magic item.
Okay. Is that part of the trick magic item, or is this just you want?
No, that's
to
part
be
of charlatan.
Ah, okay. That's
So
what I was thinking of the deception. Yeah, okay.
So that Ogden thinks I'm casting the spell.
Makes sense.
This is a stupid build.
So this is against Ogden's perception DC. So Ogden 10 plus whatever your perception modifier is the DC that Ayla is trying to beat.
16 is what you're trying to beat.
Oh dear. Well, I'm a good wizard. I'm a great wizard.
You're a good wizard, cleric, druid, whatever the fuck, because wizards can't heal.
Yes, they can. It's totally a heal spell. And the person who knows that most likely is the one that's
Yeah, you know
on
what?
the ground.
You do convince Ogden that you are a wizard that somehow knows healing spells. You're like, like, yeah, what do you know about healing spells? I'm the wizard here.
I'm the one who goes to school for this shit.
Yeah, makes sense.
We're Gaslight gatekeep girl bossing all the way to the bank.
Excellent. And it was a pretty chunky heal too. That was most of Eshe's hit points, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm at 11 out of 13.
Nice.
I'm a squishy gal.
Yeah, that's fair. Oracle do be that way sometimes. All right. So it's going to take some more time before Eshe is eligible for another treat wounds check. But several of your party members do bear wounds that need medical attention later. Regardless of that, all of you are successfully atop the ruins in the middle of this pit. What would you like to do?
What do we see from here? Other than our broken bodies.
Yeah, so standing up there, it's honestly not all that different from looking down from the pit outside. Um, you do think climbing up and down the rubble here, despite, things shifting and sliding underneath you, it's just a lot less steep of a cliff. And so you think if you were to walk across the ladder and then climb up and down here, it'd be easier than trying to climb up and down the cliff around the pit. The DC is just much lower. And yeah, looking down, you see lots of scattered rubble. It appears that it's been picked through previously. And you probably either were all here or at least had heard about, efforts done on these ruins by the local town to, get down there, find whatever bodies they could, or maybe any people that were trapped underneath the rubble, and get them out. Unfortunately, nobody was found trapped. There were only bodies. But like I said, several bodies were found. I believe it was 5. 5 bodies were found. A couple of guests and several employees. And yeah, so some of the rubble has clearly been shifted after it had fallen, and some of the larger rocks have sort of been pushed out of the way and let tumble down deeper into the pit, so that people could squeeze into the rubble in various places to try and get bodies out. So there's lots of little gaps in the rubble you could try and shimmy into if you're feeling particularly adventurous. But other than that, from up here, you don't notice anything else too unusual. But if you want to look really deeply, you all could investigate as an activity if you want to.
Okay, so we'd have to use investigate instead of search.
Yeah, so the differences there are searching can tell you some things that you might be able to notice at a glance, right? That might reveal hidden things. You're essentially just rolling perception checks constantly, trying to just look around you for things that are a little bit off. Whereas investigating, you use one of your skills to recall knowledge constantly and try to see if you recognize anything that's out of the ordinary from, a standpoint that might give you more information, right? So it's the difference between looking for traps and hidden doors, perhaps noticing footprints in the first place, versus when you were underground before. Oswin was doing some investigation and discovered some kobold tracks and things. Kobolds scrapings and things they left behind on rocks and stuff. And so you knew you were going up against kobolds before you found them. Whereas a perception check would just tell you, yeah, there's some weird tracks and stuff here. If that makes sense.
Could I use either occultism or arcana to be looking for signs of unnatural magic or anything like that?
Sure. That sounds good.
They're the same modifier, so
Yeah, how about you just go ahead and roll one of those secretly? Anyone else want to volunteer up some skills to attempt to recall knowledge?
Sure. I could I use do you think lore underworld would work if I wanted to see if there was any foul business at play?
Foul business at play? Sure, that makes sense. Trying to check for was this sabotage or something like that.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Why?
Ogden, what skills do you have that might come in handy here?
The only one I can think of is nature, which I have a +4, because all my +6 or +7s are acrobatics, athletics, stealth, and thievery, which I don't think apply. But if I was gonna say like looking for something out of the ordinary, like unnatural, I could use like a nature check.
Sure, I think that makes sense. So go ahead and roll nature for me as well
There
as a
you
secret
go.
check.
Blind GM roll.
Do I have to limit myself to a single check?
Good question. I haven't looked at the full remastered recall knowledge rules, so I'm just going to bring up the old ones just to double check that. It does say you attempt a skill check, but you are spamming it.
Either
Yeah,
that
I think
or
you'll.
it has the same modifier, and since a lot of people. Well,
Yeah, so
I'll see what I hear first, and then I'll see if I want to keep
I think
exploring.
if you have multiple with the same modifier, that's fine. Just let me know which categories you're applying here, and I think
Yeah.
that makes sense.
I was thinking about using crafting to see if there was anything unusual about the structure of the building or the way in which it fell.
Oh, okay. So I'll keep your same roll then, and just call that occultism or crafting. Um, and Ayla did a lore underworld check, and Ogden was looking for things that might be unnatural. All right. So looking around, trying to see if there's anything occulty about this, if you notice any strange dark magic or signs of weird rituals or anything like that, signs of, ghosts and spooky things like that, you don't see anything like that, which feels a little strange to you because, if this place is truly haunted, like people are claiming, you would probably expect some of that somewhere here. Whether that be, markings that ghosts leave behind or something of that sort. Um, it appears that this place has only been disturbed by, human hands. I say to mean human, dwarf, elf, halfling, whatever. Um, your normal, the people of the townsfolk here are the only ones who appear to have disturbed the ruins. Checking with crafting, you look around and it is rather strange the way it fell, like the entire perimeter of this like plot of land just seems to have all fallen at once, which does seem very strange to you. And looking around, you uncover, especially, would you all be like climbing down the ruins a little bit? It's pretty easy to climb down, and probably climb back up as well, especially with the rope you have anchored.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd want to make sure that we're taking turns having someone up top to anchor the rope in case anything goes wrong.
Makes sense.
I think being thorough is important here.
But so it might take longer because, like, I'd go down
Yeah,
and then I'd stay up while Ogden and AO went down or something like that.
that's fair. So we'll say, Eshe, as it's your turn to go down into the pits here, you you look through some of the rubble itself, and that does appear strange the way it all fell at once. But especially once you get to the bottom and you start looking at the outer wall, like the cliff, you notice that a lot of it, and this is something you notice as well, Ogden, looking for natural things. A lot of it doesn't look like a natural pattern of stone being eroded, or different parts of the stone and earth being forming a different. A lot of the space of the cliff, especially very low, appears to have little marks left behind that would be made by tools, whether shovels or other simple instruments like that, digging away. And you can see sort of the lines and patterns left by things scraping away at the walls here. And these are pretty much uniform all the way around the perimeter of the cliffs, and they go up about 5 feet from the bottom. The Aella, looking for underworld lore and looking through the ruins that way, you notice that a lot of those little nooks and crannies I described previously, little holes in the rubble that you might be able to, squeeze into and look around in. You notice a few things like on the edges of those. You notice what looks to be like a little bit of leftover like wax dripped on the edge of like one of those openings. It looks like candle wax. And you would imagine that somebody has been going in and out of here at night using candles for light.
And presumably undead don't need candles, right?
Presumably.
That could be the source of the ghost rumors. Flickering lights, and strange sounds.
That's a good point. Should
I
we
didn't
have a
notice
sneak out tonight and
anything.
try and catch them?
Maybe, but we need to patch ourselves up.
Yeah, I'm still very hurt.
I feel like this is kind of going to be a stretch, but I have a compass. Is there any way to like sense direction to see if this is on top of anything we've explored underneath?
Oh, I see. I think that would be either a very difficult like survival check or something to like track your direction, because unless somebody has been like keeping a map and tracking distances while you're underground, that might be pretty difficult. It might be easier for today to like you calculate distances on the surface, and the next time you go underground start calculating distances as well, but the tunnels down there are really winding and stuff. So I will say it's possible. It's just going to be really difficult to do, just off the cuff like this.
Okay.
If you
Yeah,
want to
I
make
would-
a stab at it, I can offer some guidance.
No, I think measuring on the surface and trying to like get a sense of where it is on the surface, and then next time we're in the tunnels, kind of trying to map it out.
Okay. I would also share that I didn't notice anything of the occult, which I found odd considering there are rumors of occult happenings.
Mhm.
I still think that wax that I mentioned was closest to the occult, or could cause occult rumors to occur.
I think you're right. I just wanted to share that I didn't notice anything from the occult,
So the
so we're
tools
probably safe.
the tools and the markings that are man-made, um is there a way to tell how old they are? Like, do they look really fresh, or do they look like they were from before 2 weeks ago or 2 months, however long it's been since this fell?
Sure. I'll consider this to be outside the scope of your previous role and sort of noticing it. So this would be more of an active check. I think that would probably be a crafting recall knowledge, or something like that. Crafting or maybe society, um, something like
Okay.
that.
I have
Can I-
+0 on all of them, so I'll
Can I
See
do
what I
that?
roll.
It's the same bonus for
Sure.
any of those.
Yeah, you can give me a new roll. Yeah, so both of you look over it, and it's really hard to tell. This area has been obviously disturbed quite heavily at this point, and you think it might have been like a small miracle that you even noticed these markings in the first place. There's just been so much rubble that's fallen down over it, and townsfolk have been down here sort of trampling over some parts of the area and kicking up dust and throwing rocks around, trying to frantically look for bodies. And you're not really sure how long it's been, unfortunately.
Hmm. Um, Back when we were asking townsfolk about it, have they said there have been noises at night? I can't really remember.
Yes, the rumors are that there were strange lights and noises at night, which have led the townsfolk to believe it is haunted.
Well, I mean, so I'm full health right now. I know the two of you will want to go get patched up. And then maybe we could take turns with someone hiding and watching to see if someone shows up here.
Well, if we. How long do we have before dark?
Yeah, fair question. So I think you all got together and started shopping pretty early in the morning. You got up, had breakfast, went shopping. Um, and then you spent a couple hours around town doing all of that work. You spent a couple hours with the pit here, probably 3 or so hours in total, including this last hour of searching, which would make Ashay able to have treat wounds again, potentially. So I think it's probably like mid-afternoon. You'd have a few hours before nightfall for sure.
Because if we aren't expecting anyone else to need serious healing, I have a little bit more magical stamina. I could heal Ale to the point where I couldn't knock her out on accident, and then try and treat both of our wounds.
I mean, what are the odds that you knocked me out on accident? Can't be that likely, right?
I knocked myself out twice today.
I don't know. I imagine operating on yourself is much more difficult than operating on someone else.
Fair enough. We'll see how it goes. So I am going to cast the 2-action heal versus living.
Okay. Ooh, nice.
So you are at 16 hit points now.
Thank you, thank you.
And I am going to use my hero point for the session to treat Ayla's wounds.
Ah,
I'm also playing hero.
nice.
All right. So you get 10 more hit points, but more. I think any wounds you have also get dealt with, right?
Correct.
Ooh, I'm no longer wounded. Thank you.
All right. And now for the risky one. I'm going to try myself.
Unfortunately, a failure, but not a critical failure.
Okay.
Classic.
Can we say I wait an hour and then try again?
Yeah, absolutely. You've got several hours before your plans start, so.
Okay. And does it do anything for my woundeds? Oh, critical success.
So on a critical success, the wounded condition is removed. On a success, the wounded condition is removed. Nothing happens on a failure.
Okay.
Hey, there you go.
Yay! So I'm now at wounded 1 or wounded 0?
Wounded 0,
Okay.
I believe, because it just says its wounded condition is removed. It doesn't say decreased, and I don't see anything talking about levels of wounded. So I think, yeah, that's it.
All right. It took me long enough.
passing out twice, you really focused this time, and
I move very slowly and deliberately, and I make sure Ayla is spotting me to make sure I don't pull anything.
It makes sense. So
I
finally,
will watch to set your mind at ease while knowing that I'm in trouble if it doesn't go well because I'm not trained in medicine.
but you're a wizard that knows healing. Surely you have more spell
Uh-huh,
slots.
uh-huh. Of
Yeah.
course.
Oh yeah, Ogden told me all about your impressive healing skills.
Thank you. Thank you. Um, it, yeah, they
I guess
teach
you.
healing at my school for some reason.
Yeah, it's quite impressive. You probably would have an excuse too, even if you're out of scrolls or whatever, because wizards being prepared casters, you know, you're like, oh, I only prepared one heal today. Sorry.
Yeah.
That was all I had.
Based. I prepare my spells by going to the stone ring pond.
Yeah, exactly. It's very specific wizard shit. You wouldn't understand. So, a couple hours have passed. You all have treated your wounds, healed up a bit. You've made an easy access down into the ruins. And at this point, it's pretty much getting to nightfall. So we'll just skip over that last little bit of time before nightfall, unless anyone else had something they wanted to do. Cool. So
I don't think so.
Oh, I said posting the table.
sounds good. So we'll say you finish waiting until nightfall and you head back to the ruins in order to stake it out. And ooh, I can hit the fancy button while you wait for nightfall and it will do the thing. There we go. So night has fallen over Otari. You head back to the ruins, and it's very dark. There are no like lights over in this area. You've waited long enough that the nearby buildings are all just houses, and they have all put out their lights at this point. You know, some of the bigger, fancier manors and some of the businesses are still open as far as, you know, like taverns and things, but those lights are fairly far away now. So are any of you lighting torches or casting spells to help you see here, or are you just gonna sit in the darkness and really wait and hide and look for these rumored lights?
I would probably be relying on my sense of hearing more than my sense of sight for this one.
Okay.
I would offer my torch to anyone, like, I'm more than happy to light it if needed, but I'd worry that would scare off our visitor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Ayala is pretty sure that both Ogden and Eshe can do reasonably well in the dark and would be more reliant on whatever shows up bringing its own light source.
All right. So you're probably all taking the search activity then. So could I get a perception check from y'all? And Ashay, you may add your circumstance bonus, because you're specifically looking out for, you know, whether undead or not, some kind of creature doing something here.
Can I make it at disadvantage because I can't see?
There is no disadvantage, but I think there is a circumstance penalty if you're trying to see something in the dark, but it sounds like you're all just trying to hear right now. So this is just a listening perception check. Okay. So Ayla, you get a bit distracted, perhaps by Nocti. Perhaps Nocti stays there with you, and you just occasionally hear the sound of Nocti purring or something, and that your ears aren't as sharp. But Ashay and Ogden, you're sitting here at the edge of these ruins, and you hear the slight creaking of metal down below, like perhaps a rusty door or a trap door or something. The sound of metal hinges down below, squeaking just a little bit, and then some not like sprinting sounds, but like some slightly hurried, like very hastily attempting to be stealthy, like footsteps down below. They're not doing a very good job of being stealthy, but they are like stepping around down there and trying to get something ready. They're
Are
very
they
faint.
heading towards
There's no
us?
light.
You don't hear a direction yet. You just hear these sounds. And no, there's no light yet.
I am going to cast message to Ayla to get her attention and let her know that I heard something under there, and whoever's good at sneaking should probably head down there.
Ayla will just hear the word sneak in her mind, turn to Ashe, and shake her head violently. Hoping that conveys the message that she's not good at sneaking.
I message Ogden, are you any good at sneaking?
I am, yes. But the thing is, I cannot see without light. If it's low light, I can see, but it's pretty dark right now.
All right, I guess we're just gonna forego the element of surprise then, I mutter. And I will,
I will say, just before you, just add extra information to the situation before you make a decision. The sounds, I'm assuming you're all on top of the roof right now, or would you be on the edge of the cliff? Like on top of the roof of the ruins in the middle, or?
Probably.
Okay.
Probably
So
on the roof.
that's probably the easiest way to get down, so it makes sense you'd start there. So it does sound like these footsteps are coming from below you, like from within the ruins. And you don't hear a specific
direction.
What's up?
Can we tell the direction?
Strangely, you can't. It kind of sounds like the sound is emanating up through the ruins, right? Like there's lots of cracks for the sound to escape through, and you saw many of those different little holes in the ruins that somebody could crawl into. It kind of sounds like right now it's so far away it's coming from all of them. So whatever this sound is, it hasn't like emerged yet. So you can take action now if you want to, but if you want to wait until something emerges or whatever, you might wait a little longer. You rolled well enough in your perception checks to get like a really advanced notice on anything happening here. So I just wanted to make sure all that was
Okay.
clear. But you can rush down there if you want. I want to
I would wait and see if it's coming closer then. Like, say the next 30 seconds, if it seems like the sound is getting closer to us, then I'd wait and try and surprise it. If it's just still puttering far away, then we might have to forego the element of surprise and go see what's down there.
Alright, makes sense. So you all wait for just a little bit, just a few more seconds. And you hear these like sort of hurried footsteps. Then you hear just a little bit of chattering sound, the same kind of chattering you've heard underground previously, as a few creatures talk to each other down there. And since you've already encountered them under Otari, these sound like kobolds to you as they chatter away about something. And then you hear the striking of like a tinderbox real quick, just a couple flicks of stone against metal or stone, and then you see just the faintest bit of light start to emanate from out under certain cracks in the ruins. And the hurried footsteps have stopped at this point, and instead you see a candle poke out from the ruins a little farther down. And you can see just barely in the candlelight like a cloaked figure, just wearing like a very dark cloak, trying to blend in with the darkness, holding a candle out in front of them. And they start to make sounds like, ooh. just trying to make like spooky sounding sounds.
Ayala covers her mouth to stop herself from giggling.
Ooh, stay away, stay away. It's haunted. Ooh. Holding the candle out in front.
I'm gonna cast message to Ogden's asking, should we scare them off? Or just go poke around in the daylight?
You should blow up the pylons from the new character.
Are we able to talk without being heard with message?
I believe whoever was the target can respond, like, without making sound. Yeah.
Well, do we want to? I can try to sneak up to it and grapple it, and maybe we could ask it some questions, or that would be something I would think of.
I've got a stupid idea. I'm not in this group call though.
I would say go for it and then message Ayla what Ogden's gonna do.
Ayla will create a light breeze and channel her elements to respond with a message of her own. And her message is gonna be, wait, I've got a really dumb idea. What if we convince them that this place is haunted? Although we wouldn't get any information that way.
Yeah, I'm gonna respond with, I think it's better to see if we can do that rather than have to try and ambush them in their lair later.
Makes sense. I can attempt to speed Ogden up if he's gonna try and grapple. But I think that's a good plan.
All right. Can I take the help action by casting Produce Flame as far away as I can to make a little flickering light? I'm inspired by Ayala's thing, but I want to use it as a distraction.
Okay, so you want to try and create some light somewhere else in the ruins to spook them. Is that correct?
To draw their attention away from Ogden, so that they're focused on something else.
Are you communicating this plan with Ayala? Because if you are, she can increase the winds to make it sound even more spooky.
Sure.
Heck
So,
yeah.
I just looking over the spell real quick. Produce Flame does have a verbal component. And I don't know if there are rules in this game for casting quietly. It's probably a feat, I would have to guess. But
Okay.
let's see. Okay, yeah, there is a silent spell feat.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a meta magic wizard feat.
I like.
So I think this will make pretty significant audible noise as you have to like chant the arcane words to get the spell going. Not to stomp on that idea too much, because I think it's a cool idea. I just want to warn you about the noise, that's all. So if you could make another noise-based distraction to cover it up or something, maybe? I don't know.
Nocti could go to the other side of the hole and knock something over.
It's a possibility there.
Create a little fake rock slide to cover the sound.
I mean, what I would probably do if that were the case is use the creepiest voice I could to get the Produce Flame.
Ah, okay.
I would make it sound as ominous and ghostly and haunted child as I know how.
All right. That
and just
sounds-
like kind of half whisper, half speak it into the void.
That sounds like the demoralize action to me. So if while you cast a spell, you want to give me an intimidation check, you can go ahead and do so. And would you have Nocti try to make a distraction at the same time? I think it would be maybe
If
like an aid.
Ashe said that she was cool with it.
Did you say you think we don't need it, or what were you saying?
No, I said if he were cool with Nocti creating a rock slide, then Nocti will try.
I also just want
Okay.
to point out that this has been a lot of very quick mental planning, but unless you've stopped to communicate things to Ogden's already sneaking away. But let's get to that when we get to it. I just wanted to confirm that as well.
Yeah, we can have Nocti make crashing sounds somewhere in there. I do want the voice to be scary though.
Okay, so I think Nocti can aid. I'm not sure what skill to. I think this is also intimidation. This is also attempting to demoralize. You're attempting to. You know what? I'll call this either intimidation or stealth. Something. I'm trying to think of what would be the best distraction-based skill, but none of the charisma ones make sense to me in this situation. So I think either attempting to help with the demoralization with intimidation, or attempting to hide some parts of the spellcasting with a stealth roll is what Nocti could do here.
Would this be a public roll?
Let's have Nocti's roll first.
Okay.
And yeah, that'd be a public roll.
I think if it's creepy sounding and we want that to be like the focus, I'm not sure if I want to disguise the cast. What if I had can I argue for athletics on the grounds that she'd have to like push something to create the rock slide?
So my one problem with athletics is, yeah, sure. Let's go with athletics. That's fine. Thanks, especially since this is an aid, anyways. It's a little bit more flexible in what skill you're using here. So.
What if Nocti picks a rock bigger than her?
Exactly. Then athletics is required.
I think that's true of most rocks in this hole. Oh shoot, that's not blind. Rip.
Oh, that didn't need to be blind. You're good.
Oh.
All right, so that does give Eshe a +1 on this roll. So an intimidation with the circumstance bonus +1, total of 18 as well. So you chant this spell, and where do you want to place the flame relative to this candle? If the candle is about halfway down the rubble, like directly below you, where do you want to put the flame?
I think the spell says it appears in my hand and I throw it.
Ah, okay.
So
That's
the
so
small
cool.
ball of flame is just going to appear in the dark, flash ale in my faces for a sec, and then I'm going to lob it as far as I can away from Ogden, so that the light doesn't show him. It's just a very distracting bit of movement to give Ogden some cover.
Okay. So it does have a range of 30 feet, which is more than enough to reach like down to the bottom of the pit. So here's how I think this plays out based on all these rolls. Nocti goes over to like the side of the pit a little bit and kicks over a rather large piece of rubble, which rolls down and starts to scatter some stones. And Ogden, this might surprise you slightly at first too. And the kobold will stop his chanting and attempting to be spooky, and just like look over in that direction with a very like cartoonish surprise expression, like hands up over his head, like holding the candle up as the rocks tumble. And then you chant out these words as the rocks are tumbling, and you can't really tell which direction the words are coming from, especially with the rubble tumbling around. He just looks around, and then fire just lands down at the bottom of the pit. As perhaps he turned away to the right to look at where the rocks were sliding, and you threw it over his left shoulder. So it landed down below, and he just looks back and sees a flame at the bottom of the pit out of nowhere. And he just starts looking around back and forth frantically. So now, Ogden, if you're sneaking up on him, go ahead and give me a stealth check. And due to all of those rolls being so good, I'm going to say this gets a circumstance bonus of +2. Since he is very distracted right now.
Let's shoot. Is this blind?
No, you'll know if he sees you.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So yeah, that is absolutely...
You didn't put the circumstance on, so it'd be a 24.
It would be a 24, which is a critical success. So you sneak up to him extra good. So I'll say at this point, Ogden, you are like perfectly poised against him. You're right behind him. He does not know at all that you are there, and he's kind of like frantically looking around in front of him, looking down at the flame down below, kind of like pointing at it and saying something in kobold, and like his shaking hand is holding out a candle. What do you want to do now?
I'm going to try to grapple him.
All right, so he is flat-footed versus your grapple. So go ahead and make that athletics, I believe. I'm pretty sure it's athletics versus, is it fortitude or reflex?
I'm also going to use my hero point.
Makes sense. It is fortitude DC. All right, so yeah, use that hero point. Athletics check versus the target's fortitude DC -2 from being flat-footed, or off guard now, I guess. Should be off guard. Oh, yeah, that's another crit. So you, on a critical success, you don't just grab somebody with a grapple, you fully restrain them. So you like put him in a chokehold or something, like really like get his arms behind his back. Like he cannot move. He is completely locked in. So go ahead and describe how you do that, Ogden, as you sneak up behind this kobold, which is are kobolds medium? This is something I actually should know, but I don't. The kobold is small, so the small creature in front of you in a cloak with a candle, as you sneak up behind them as a like a fully grown adult man, much like twice his height. How do you grab him?
I feel like I would just walk up behind him. Does he have any weapons or anything, or is it just his candle? Because I know you said he had a cloak.
Since you rolled so well, technically there wasn't any perception there, but I think you had a second to look him over because of your really high stealth and stuff. He does have a spear. You can see like the shape of the spear kind of tucked into the cloak on his back. He's not currently holding it. He's holding out like a candle and pointing with a free hand.
Okay, I would probably just take my arms and kind of just reach around him to just grab him and like pick him straight up.
All right, so like over his shoulders, that you have his arms under your arms, kind of deal, and just like you can't wriggle free. All right, you can grab him. Do you try to cover his mouth, or are you just gonna? What's your plan there? I guess his mouth is pretty big.
I would probably try to cover his mouth. Yeah, probably try to cover it, but don't know if it would work. But
okay. I'm also now realizing from the demoralized attempt earlier, you should have had the fear condition. Not that it changed. They were both crits anyways, but I need to keep that stuff in mind. So this guy, I'll give the fear condition. So yeah, you try to cover. I'll say with the critical success in the athletics, you reach your arms around him, you grab him, you cover his mouth up, and he's just like struggling and wriggling away. He's dropped his candle at this point. It's just on the ground, kind of tilted over, still burning a little bit. And he's
As
trying
soon
to
as-
break free.
As soon as I see the candle drop, I will get my ever burning torch out so that
Alright.
he can see he's very clearly outnumbered.
Yeah, so the light lights up. I think as soon as you pull out that light and the candle hits the ground down there and some noise is made, you hear very quickly, I think I'll just say this narratively. Ashay, without a roll, you with your good elf, whisper elf hearing, you just hear some more skittering feet really quickly rush underneath inside the ruins here, and then that same creaking metal sound as you actually hear a metal door get slammed. Like, and yeah, then this kobold is still squealing and squirming and trying to get away from Ogden.
Okay. Do we have any sense of direction whether they were fleeing or rushing to aid?
Fleeing, definitely fleeing.
Ah. Okay.
It sounded like the
So-
same sound you heard when these creatures first emerged, just in reverse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure there weren't like friends who saw light and were like, "Oh no,
Right.
let me help."
Nope.
Okay. So, yeah, I won't pay any attention to it then.
All right.
I'd probably make a comment like, "We scared your friends off."
Do kobolds speak common?
I was just looking this up. You know,
Oh, that's embarrassing.
um, the stat block for a basic kobold doesn't say they do, but this adventure does mention speaking with them. So I will assume that this particular band of kobolds knows at least some common.
Yeah, I
So
mean, he was also talking and being like, "It's haunted."
it's true, yeah. So they know at least some common. So Ogden, do you remove your hand from its mouth so it can speak back?
Yep.
All right, what was the question again? I'm sorry, I was looking at rules.
Oh, I didn't ask a question. I just said, "Seems your friends have abandoned you."
Which is very menacing.
Mostly, like, partially to let it know that it's alone, and also to let Ogden and Ayala know that there were others, and that we scared them off too.
All right, if you hadn't already demoralized it so recently, I would say that's another demoralize. But well, you know what? You might as well roll it just in case. Maybe you'll crit, but against the normal demoralize would simply set to 1. It doesn't stack, but you could crit and get a higher value if frightened. That if he is currently already demoralized, that's still not a crit. Okay, so yeah, he's still just demoralized. He's got frightened 1. So. Yeah, so he's clearly terrified of you all in the situation, and he's just kind of wriggling and he's speaking in some language none of you understand at this point.
I would probably try to tell him that we're not trying to hurt him. We just want to ask him a couple questions. Although if he's already feared, then maybe that wouldn't work. Never mind.
Just questions, just a couple questions.
Yeah, we just kind of want to get an understanding of what you guys are doing here.
Put down. We ask questions. Put down.
Okay. Fine.
I am going to real quick use what is it? Sense motive.
Ooh. I always forget that's a thing.
Sense motive. All right. So with an Okay, that doesn't actually tell me the. I need to double check this. I think it's against their deception DC, but they might not be deceiving you. I just want to. Okay. Apologies. Learning the system. Okay. Okay. So, yeah, you look over this kobold, and although you've not interacted with many kobolds yet, and most of them have been very violent, brief encounters, he does not appear to be very hard to read. It appears that these kobolds kind of wear their thoughts with their whole bodies, so to speak. Like, there's, they are all tell, no other behavior. And so you're very confident that I will also say this is a critical success. So not only are you very confident that this kobold is telling the truth, that he just wants to be put down and he'll answer your questions, you also are pretty certain that this kobold is not under the effect of any kind of charm, spell, or anything similar like that. That's just a fun thing you get on a crit for that.
Yeah, so I would make eye contact with Ogden, nod, and say, "Don't run."
No run questions. Put down.
And I will put him down on the ground.
I can breathe again. Thank you. I go, never come back. You let me go, I leave, never return. Yes?
We'd like to know what you were doing first, at least.
They kill me. No.
They? Who's they?
He just shakes his head.
I mean, just look at us. We're probably stronger than whoever they are. You're safe with us.
Doesn't seem convinced. If you would like, you could try to give me either a diplomacy or an intimidation here, depending on what you're angling for.
I'm angling a little bit towards intimidation.
Okay, go for it.
And once I put him down, I
Oh
would
my
probably
God.
put my hand right on the rapier that I'm.
Yeah, so intimidation for sure. I mean, 25, the crit. Ogden, go ahead and roll me intimidation as well, because we should be using this as an aid check, even though it doesn't necessarily matter for this roll. We should just get used to it, but just to see if you add up. So that would have added a +1. So this
26.
is... Yeah, 26. This kobold is not particularly hard to intimidate. As you all stand there, much taller than he is, with all of your big weapons and scary magics and all of that, crushing grip, etc. He says,
Don't forget the haunting blue light of my torch.
exactly.
And the menacing wind.
True. It's so many things right now. This kobold is currently pissing itself, literally, as you're trying to
Aw.
communicate with it. It's something there, just
now
like
I feel
shivering
bad.
and scares. Okay, yeah, yes, you protect me. I tell you, yes. Then I leave.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Kobold Boss Zolgran, big leader of the mighty kobolds, yes? Yes, big boss Zolgran. She has powerful magics to roast you alive. She's very angry all the time. She'll kill me. She'll kill me. And starts just like crying.
What does she want?
We do what we're told. Yes, we do what we're told. Yes. We follow orders. Boss Zolgran gives
What are you
orders.
told?
Get fish. Fish for a new powerful friend of the mighty boss Zolgran. Terrifying new friend.
Have you seen the new friend?
Oh, yes. New friend is big, big, mighty dragon. It's a blessing from the gods. A
What color
sign.
dragon?
Ah, dragon was green. A dragon was a sign that we were destined finally to return to the surface. We were going to conquer the pathetic human town. Like looks up at all of you with like concerned eyes and starts to retreat into himself again after that sudden bold outburst. Um, as soon as is grown more fish, we get more fish. We feed more fish. It grows up. It grows bigger. Then we raid the surface.
How big is it now?
Big. He just nods.
As big as us?
Bigger.
I will, let's see.
He kind of tilts his head
I'm-
to the side a little bit. Not
I'm
big as-
decent.
much bigger.
I'm decently strong, so I will pick Ayla up and put her on my shoulders
Oh gosh.
and say, as big as her?
Not that big.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, yes. I go now. I leave. Never return. You protect.
Yeah. We can get you out of the town, even. You want to come with us? We can sneak you out.
Oh, yes, yes. Kind humans. Thank you.
So
I will turn to Ogden, knowing that he lives just outside of town. What direction do you think would be a good way to send this one?
The easiest way would be to get out of the ruins and travel up Rosegard Road. The only light they would have to go past is the wizard's bookstore, but they're probably asleep by now.
Yes. If get me forest, I escape.
okay, we can take you by way of the graveyard, I think. Is that what you were thinking?
No, I was thinking if we take Menhem Street to Rosegard, it just goes right out the city, and the only light is the wizard's tower. At least on the map. I don't know if that's actually true.
It's pretty much accurate. The graveyard is on top of the cliff above Otari, so you'd actually have to go up out the north of Otari and up the slope up there, and then back out and around.
Okay, so yeah, we'd go with Ogden's plan and get him to the forest.
All right.
Um,
Yes. Go ahead.
One more question for you. Why were you trying to convince people that the ruins are haunted?
Humans scared of ghosts. Yeah, we stay away from ghosts.
Is it to keep the dragon secret?
No. Keep us secret.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to,
We trapped
yes, of course.
Fox and Nax after cave-in.
Mm-hmm. I'm assuming I've put Ayla down, so I'm going to take the kobold and put it on my shoulders
All right.
in its cloak.
Can Nax come too?
Who?
Friend Kobold. And he just points into the ruins. Looks up at you with pleading eyes.
I will cast message towards Nyx. I think if I say the name, I can still cast it, not knowing who it is.
I think so, right? You just need to know their name. Yeah, that sounds familiar. Okay. So,
I first I'll ask the kobold what its name is.
yeah, Nax, friend Nax.
What's your name?
Socks?
Socks. Okay.
Great name.
I will cast message to Nyx. Friend Socks says you can get away. You have to come up to the surface secretly.
Roll me a diplomacy check, if you would. See if you can see how convincing you
this
sound.
Blind or public?
I think this can be public. It's one of those times where it'll be pretty clear if you're effective against the target. So yeah, you just hear back through the message. No, tricksy humans. No.
Can you give me something that would tell Nyx that it's definitely you?
I just go knock on door.
I'm gonna try casting message one more time. And I'm going to say, we have to move quick, but we're getting Socks out of the city. You can join us.
Give me another diplomacy check. Maybe this one will go better. Yeah, you don't even hear a response this time, I think.
I don't think Socks likes me.
Oh, well, Nyx is the one in the thing.
Oh, I don't think Nyx likes me.
Socks, go knock on door. Secret knock. Yes.
Okay.
All right. Socks will
I will put Socks down.
squirm into the side of the ruins, and you
I
hear.
will also
like
put out the torch for the meantime.
Can I make a mental note of which side of the ruin Socks went into?
Sure.
Like what area?
Yeah. So your Socks scurry in there, and you hear like a pattern, like a knock, 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 knock. It's like a very elaborate long pattern for no reason. And then you hear the creaking of metal again. Some communication in a language I don't think any of you understand. Yeah, I don't see it on the party's language list. And then both kobolds will. There's a little bit of bickering at first, but then eventually both kobolds come out, and they're both wearing the same like dark, tattered rags to try and hide in the darkness. And they both appear to be willing to come with you.
All right. I would suggest Ayala, you get the other one, and we can pretend they're children. And we're carrying them on our shoulders.
Sure. Yeah, my cloak should be big enough to fit.
I just figured with their cloak, especially if I kept the light not right up in their face
Yeah.
and their child's size, that seeing them carried on the shoulders of adult-sized people, hopefully people would just assume they're children.
Makes sense. All right. So,
And I mean, if you wanted, I could walk a little ways ahead, carrying your torch.
Sure, yeah.
all right. So mechanically, how all this could break down is if you want to walk ahead, Ogden. I think this might be the scouting action, which would give everyone a bonus on initiative rolls, essentially, which could still matter in a social situation. There is such thing as a social initiative and stuff like that. If you get spotted and need to talk your way out,
Oh,
or
that's
whatever.
based.
Yeah, right. But there's that. There's also just the narrative idea of Ogden would probably be the one to be caught in that situation, right? makes sense.
Mhm.
But the rest of you might need to sneak. Right? So Ogden would be out in front looking obvious, and then everyone else would be sneaking, right? So
Could I make an argument for performance instead?
I think you could make an argument.
Can I just
That's a good
argue? I like
question.
arguing.
Because
I think
the goal is to kind of pull off the normal adult carrying child home.
yeah.
Maybe like society, so that you try and look like, I don't know. Maybe that's not my best suggestion.
Yeah, so
I
I think that
mean-
would no longer be an avoid notice because you're okay with being noticed. You're just trying to I'm trying to think of what action that would be. There's certainly got to be something. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
think of just so many actions to look at. You know?
Yeah, because I don't necessarily want to be unseen, just not stick out, if that makes sense.
It does. I'm pretty sure
Assume
I
a
pinned
role?
a thing somewhere. What's up?
Assume a role is impersonation.
Right.
I mean, we're basically impersonating adults with children, right?
Yeah, but it's like impersonating a specific person.
Yeah.
You study them for an hour.
I thought I had
Oh,
pinned
okay.
a link, but I can't find it. So I just Googled it again. I'm going down the list here. So performance is specifically used for performing to put on like a song, a dance, tell jokes. And then there's earn income using performance. Well, there doesn't appear to be anything generally related to performance unless you have a feat for it.
Would society be better then?
Society could help you with forgery, deciphering writing, subsisting in an urban environment, recalling knowledge about society, and then some other adventure specific stuff like helping promote a circus or things like that. I'm trying to see. I think trying to use skills for these more specific, like acting like somebody else type things, would be a more feat based. But I think what I can do in this situation, I think, and I might be very wrong on this, is have you avoid notice but change the stat it's based on instead of dexterity. Maybe like
Okay.
stealth charisma or something like that kind of thing. But
Okay, yeah.
I'm not actually sure. Let's just go with that for now, though. I guess that would be.
I mean, I could just make a blind charisma check.
Yeah, that's fair. There is the impersonate action. You're not impersonating a specific individual. You don't need a disguise kit. So it'd be a deception roll, I guess. That makes a lot of sense.
Okay. So we both make deception rolls then.
Yeah, so if you want to use deception instead of stealth here, I think that's fair.
I would like to. I am better at deceiving people than sneaking.
I would also like that.
Fair enough.
Although I don't remember what was said already.
Deception or stealth. Those are your two options.
Will I make one
Deception.
too?
Not if you're scouting ahead.
Deception.
Scouting ahead has no roll associated. All right, so you make your way up and out of Otari little by little, and Ogden is out in front of the group, holding that torch, walking through the streets. And since none of you were sneaking, you were deceiving, I'm assuming you're probably not that far behind Ogden, right? Because you're not staying out of sight, you're just staying... you're trying to pass yourselves off as just people taking
Yeah.
their kids home, I guess, right?
Yeah,
I think,
mostly just want to
like-
be far enough behind that the light's not going to show a snout.
Yeah, that's fair, but it would look strange. I think in these kinds of circumstances, it would look strange if you were walking far enough back to be in the dark, right? But you could definitely be a little
Yeah.
bit farther back so you're not like in bright light,
Mhm.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
at the very edge of the dim light.
Yeah, that makes
We're
sense.
close to it.
So you're walking up north and out of Otari, and you pass by Odd Stories, and as you round that corner, you hear a, "Oh there!" as one of the guards starts walking towards you, holding out his own torch and with a halberd in his other hand. Torches. It's a bit late tonight. Where are you all headed? Up and out of town. Do you need an escort?
No, we're all set. We were just going to the graveyard. Pay our respects.
And I'm going to gesture at Ogden and say, he's our escort.
I see.
Yeah, I live out of the city, and they were just wanting someone to go with them, so figured I would help out.
I see. You can see he's like starting to squint a little bit at you all. And just for dramatic effect, just to show you why this is all happening, I will reveal that Eshe's check was a natural one. He looks over you and says,
Yes, of course.
"Carrying kids out late at night out of the city. Who are you? I recognize you. You were here at the tug of war. I can't quite see those of you in the back. Come step into the light, would you?" Why are you carrying your children into the darkness? Come here.
Well, they wanted to prove that they could stay up through the night in a graveyard. And I figured, what better way to show them that ghosts aren't real?
You know the woods around here.
Yeah,
We
please,
wouldn't want them to be.
please step into the light so we can
Danger?
talk better. Just a few feet closer. We can see each other better. We don't have to speak so loudly when everyone else is sleeping nearby. Just step into the light, please.
I will rearrange the kobold so that I'm holding it so it's facing away from me, like, holding a kid.
Okay.
And as I step into the light. Kind of,
Okay. So you
I'm
are
kind of like
recognized.
hugging it, trying to, pretend
Yeah,
like I'm
yeah.
comforting it and also actually comfort it and like let it know that I'm on its side.
Makes sense.
Rubbing the back, kind of whole soothing deal, and I kind of gesture for Ale to do the same.
Well, this is happening. Can I give Nocti a look and have her go walk up and rub friendly against the guards ankles and shins as a sort of quasi distraction with cute?
Sure. Give me a deception. Excuse me, a deception check from Nocti.
Ah, fuck.
So I think that's how a distraction works.
Okay.
I'm double checking, but I think that's how that works.
Blind?
No, because this would be probably an aid. But hold on. Created a diversion. Here we go. simple, yeah, deception check compared to perception DC. Okay, so I think, yeah, in this case, Nocti goes up and you realize this is just a stroke of bad luck as Nocti tries to rub against his legs. He's wearing like plated metal greaves, and Nocti's just rubbing against metal, and he hardly even notices she's down there.
She'll just look up at me with
Ah.
sad eyes. She tried.
One of your cats or a stray? Whatever.
That's my cat. Her
Okay.
name is Nocti.
I recognize both of you around town before.
She loves pets.
I must insist this is no time of night for citizens of Otari to be leaving. Things can happen in the graveyard at night. It's not a good time to go out there. I must insist you return to your homes, especially with children in tow. Yeah, just
Of
please.
course. Of
Thank you.
course. So I think once we get out of earshot, I'll whisper change of plans, sneak him out in the daytime.
That might be more difficult, but
Or we could
Good
try
work.
and find another way out of town.
DM, do I know if the cliff behind the Dawnflower Library just kind of stops, or if there continues to be a shoreline up until there's trees eventually? Not trees, but like if it goes somewhere.
The shoreline, yeah, it stops at a cliff. Yeah, that is correct.
Okay. And the cliff is probably too tall to climb, right?
Yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head how tall it is, but it's very tall. It's taller than any of the buildings here, by like multiple times their height.
Even with Ogden's climbing gear?
That makes it 50 feet, so probably not.
Yeah.
Can we try going back to Manhem Street and then go up, what is it? I can't read in the dark.
I would
Manticore?
I would guess the cliff is over 100 feet tall.
Oh dear.
But yes,
Yeah.
what was your question?
So-
Sorry.
So we head back towards the bridge that we would take to get to the Rowdy Rockfish, but instead go the other way and then go up Manticore in the dark.
And go up.
One street over.
Basically, go down a couple blocks, go over a block, and try again.
Yeah, where's Manticore?
It's the one to the right of the one with odd stories.
Oh, I see. You want to go on the other side. Potentially, I will say you were spotted by a guard who was coming from that direction. Like you walked up past Odd Stories, and then around the corner to your right is where that guard was stationed. That's just where he spotted you and came from. He's probably doing rounds and patrols, but so he might not be there next time. But
Could try and sneak past, go back towards the ruins on Wisp Street, and then sneak around Worm Nook on that side of the river.
I would also just suggest, as far as things would go here, you all would assume that attempting a disguise or that kind of check again in this situation will be much harder this time. In that the guards, will notice you and immediately be like, "Why the fuck are you out again? I told you to be home," right? So if you want to get by him, you're either going to need to pass a really high check or sneak and try to just not be seen at all.
I mean, we could go for stealth this time.
Yeah,
I'm not
I
as
have
good
a-
at it.
I have a winter jacket, and would both of them fit in my winter jacket?
Probably. multiple kobolds in a trench coat, right? That's the vibe. So I mean,
Yeah.
not that they'd be stacking and impersonating somebody, but yeah, they could probably fit in the winter jacket.
I don't know. I'd like the thought of multiple kobolds stacking and trying to impersonate somebody.
Yeah, and then I could try stealth to get them out.
Well, so the are you carrying them in the jacket? Or are you just having them sneak with you? Because I will say, them being in the jacket will only hurt your sneaking, but it will help if you get caught for the disguise part, if that makes sense. Because it's very
Okay.
cumbersome for them to be in the jacket, but so it depends on what you're aiming for here.
Probably. I was thinking of carrying them in it, but that's kind of the same disguise we just tried.
Yeah, I mean it could work. I think the other element there is I'm pretty sure if you're carrying that much, like 2 small creatures, you're going to be taking a penalty to your stealth check. But I don't know the exact mechanics of that. That's just an intuition thing. But I'm pretty sure carrying too much, I don't think you can even carry that much without being encumbered, basically. So you could do that if you're really confident in your stealth and you just want to carry them instead of them sneaking. You could do that, but that's up to you. I will say, if you strategize with them within earshot, they would contribute to the discussion that they feel most confident in their own stealth abilities over anything else.
Okay, cool. Then
Okay.
let's just try to stealth.
I'm gonna stay back on this one then.
Okay.
I'm not good at sneaking.
Yeah, I
mean,
yeah, I'd probably fold up my armored cloak and give it to Ashe, and then try to follow at a distance where I can tell if Ogden got into trouble, but not,
Okay.
because I also have the excuse of, oh, well, I told Rin from Rin's Wonders that I was going to go back to her place tonight.
All right, so let's get through this then. I'll roll stealth for the kobolds, and both of you roll stealth. You do have a hero point left, Ayla, if you want to use it.
Yeah, I'm going to use mine.
Hell yeah.
And this is
Before we head
blind.
out, I'm gonna real quick cast guidance quietly, like find a nice little corner and cast guidance on Ogden.
Okay.
So that's a +1 circumstance bonus?
Yep.
Alright, cool. Blind GM roll.
All right.
And then blind GM roll. Oh, that's a lot of dice.
Yeah, I was rolling for the kobolds.
Oh,
Okay. So you used your hero point, so you can roll that again.
oh, heck
cool.
yeah.
Okay. So thanks to the hero point, all 4 of you managed to sneak successfully past that intersection, past the guard who was watching it, up past Galantine deliveries, and out of the city of Otari, getting the kobolds just to the edge of the woods, and they will bow and thank you profusely. Thank you. We never come back. We never come back. Thank you, kind humans.
You're welcome. I hope this helped, and I hope you guys can live on.
Yeah, thank you
Like
for
that.
the information you shared with us as well. It means a lot.
No, just both nod like enthusiastically and bow again, and then kind of walk backwards while bowing like multiple times as they keep taking a few steps and turning and bowing again and head off into the woods. And they seem to be so ridiculously intimidated by you that they're putting in 110% effort on anything that might even slightly appease you as they leave. And once they think they're out of sight, which isn't quite completely out of sight, they just start sprinting out into the woods.
Just for funsies.
Oh God.
That's
Well-
why I decided I was going to stay back, because I've been having really bad luck, and also I don't have a high stealth modifier.
Yes. It is a good thing you didn't.
Can I ask what my first stealth roll was there?
It was a 6.
Based.
It was not a natural one, at least, but yeah. So that's where we'll end for tonight. As you all gather some extra information, you dealt with these kobolds. You uncovered the mystery of the ruins.
We almost ruined ourselves.
Indeed. And for uncovering the mystery of the ruins and dealing with the kobolds, you all get 100 XP.
Ooh,
Which I'll also give to Oswin later. But
that's 904.
and
I think.
for getting the kobolds to talk about the dragon specifically, you get an additional 30 XP.
That's really close to level 2.
All right, pretty good. And yeah, we'll pick up from there next time with after another day of rest, you get Oswin back, you tell him all the news, perhaps he'll finally not be hungover, and you'll head back down underground.
Oh, I still needed to go back to Rune's Wonders because I told her I'd be there. Fuck. Oh well.
Oh well, you can do that tomorrow as well, or she might be
Yeah.
up late because you said you wanted like a fortune telling or something too. But,
Yeah.
Um,
Midnight is the perfect time for fortune telling.
just for fun, actually, before we leave, we'll have 3 endings tonight's episode. I just want to roll something based on you visiting Rin. If you wanted to visit Rin tonight,
I will happily visit Rune tonight.
okay. Okay.
Because I did say I'd be back tonight after she gave us tea.
Exactly. Oh my God.
I am a woman of my word.
Exactly. So with no specific I'll just very quickly shortcut that scene to say you visit Rin. She says, "Oh, the stars are extremely auspicious tonight. I think tomorrow there will be great danger ahead of you, but you will all be extremely prepared for it. I can't see much farther than tomorrow, but I foresee triumph in your future." And based on the roll I got for her astrology check, you all get a +1 circumstance bonus to saving throws for 24 hours.
Ooh.
Woo!
Cool.
Yeah.
And
How much does fortune telling cost?
How
How much do I need to pay her?
Good question. Okay, the book says if Rin's Wonders support the heroes, Rin will offer them fortune telling for free as often as they'd like, up to once per night. So, assume it's free. There is normally a mechanic for getting her to support you in the other adventure that crisscrosses with this one, but we'll just say several of you are friends with her, so she'll give you free fortune tellings.
Aw.
And there you go. So, with your free fortune telling under your belt, I'll see if I can figure out the founder mechanics for that for next time. There's probably a drag and drop thingy. We'll get back to that. I'll add that 130 XP to Oswin, and we'll head back into the dungeon. Perhaps if not next week, the week after. We might have a one-shot next week. But
Yay.
thank y'all for joining me.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you for running.
Thank you for running.
Of
Thank
course.
you.
We managed